Hi, welcome to What's the Book About? I'm your host Kevin. This is a special edition where we're going to be going into more depth into what I'm calling the Longknife Trilogy by Moscoe. So be warned, there are spoilers ahead. This trilogy is actually a start of a much larger work that the author continues under his real name of Mike Shepard. He does this by really setting up a really interesting dynamic universe and then promptly breaking it. It's kind of a signature for this series. He creates like a wonderful piñata of interesting color that you'd like to find out about, but he breaks it instantly and you find out there's much more candy and goodness inside. In fact, a lot of the characters throughout this trilogy will only survive if they're willing to look past the bright exterior to examine themselves and to be able to change and adapt as the universe around them changes, and it's a brutal universe and dangerous and exciting to read about, and you really come to know these characters only because they're willing to learn that real lasting change comes at a price. It's typified by a lot of the main characters. Like, say, we'll take Mary the Miner, who appeared in the very first book, and then again in the second. She starts off as just a regular working Joe who just wants to work her mind, live her life, and maybe one day get to own her own mind and run her own company. But with the destruction of the war coming in, it tears her apart from that life, and only by embracing that change and learning to see the strength inside herself, that she becomes a much better person, able to survive this. But it's not just pain that she experiences or loss, but no, she also experiences joy and discovering new things and actually eventually becoming that mine owner and explorer that she had dreamed of becoming. Many of the minor characters go through this, like the Marines we meet, her little troop that we expand upon as in the second book. A lot of them have to face the fact that, yeah, they were gangbangers or just miners, and the ones that adapt are the ones that survive. In particular, there's two prime examples. There's one fellow miner who does learn to become a soldier in the first book, but she never takes it beyond that, and once she survives the war, she doesn't really ever come to terms with what she did. She hides from it behind a new faith that she finds in the second book, and it's because she hides from it that ends up causing her own death in the end of that book, while the young punk gangbanger who ends up working with Mary and becoming a soldier fears that he's going to stay stuck there, but several of the other characters end up talking to him and showing him that he's more than just the scary guy, the killer, that he's something more than that. And by embracing that reluctantly, he still does survive and helps to save people. And it's a narrative that flows throughout the series, and by getting to see these people go from just being simple minor characters or even major characters, being two-dimensional, giving them that third dimension of growth, is a hallmark for this particular trilogy. In fact, it's a running theme for everyone in the trilogy, heroes and villains alike. So in the end, though, what is the trilogy about? It's actually about class warfare. All our heroes all start off in working positions and low-level power, very working class people. The ones that embrace change become more than that. But all the actual villains are all ruling class, or at least see themselves as ruling class, exploiting those working class idiots. And the villains from the conspiracy are all secretly running things, thinking that, oh, this war is just another way to profit. And because they never bother to look beyond that, it ends up nearly destroying the conspiracy itself. In fact, one of the conspirators ends up being removed from power and becoming a lifelong and actually family enemy of the Longknife because of what's happened in this first trilogy. And the villains from the second book are, well, they're two parts. There's the alien computer, which wants to become the overlord of humanity, and there's also the Sterling family, the oldest sister. She pretty much considers the entire planet her domain and fights and ends up destroying herself trying to maintain that ruling class mentality. And in the third book, we get the again, the conspiracy comes in again, and this is where the conspirator is finally broken, and the two major villains that run the drugs and the slave trade, they are ruling class. They hide themselves among the worker class to perpetuate the business of stealing and plundering planets. But it is not at all unkeeping with the fact that they are considered ruling class, because their secret headquarters is actually the country club where all the ruling people live, and it's only defeated by the assistance of two, and they describe themselves as disgruntled workers. So this kind of class warfare is not overtly talked about, but it runs through the entire trilogy. And by putting this whole story into an exciting adventure where you're not just, you're given this nice, beautiful universe, and then they tear it open so you can see all the interesting bits inside and the deliciousness of it all. It's why I've got to give this particular trilogy 4 out of 4 stars. Published by Ace Science Fiction under the original name of Mike Moscow, it can also be found under the author's real name of Mike Shepard as being republished, and you can also get it as the ebook. So there's no reason you can't go out, get this trilogy, read it, and enjoy. Till next time, have a good one.